if things do not change with how stuff is moving right now, we will enter a neo-feudal era. I'll explain exactly what that could mean and what I believe that means. We're going through a new technological revolution. We saw this during the Industrial Revolution back in the early 1900s, 1920s, 1930s. We saw this happen again with the computer revolution, the digital revolution, right? Each of those, I call them revolutions, but each of those periods of economic change have brought forth new opportunities for the most part. So, I mean, nothing fell from the skies at that point. Yeah, people probably thought in the 1930s during the Great Depression that, there would be, this is it, this is the end. And in 2008, maybe people thought this is it, this is the end. But, we're still here and we're still working. However, with this AI revolution, it's kind of hard to determine what new job opportunities can come out of this, besides like prompt engineering and AI, utilizing AI secondary to your job. So AI is not really taking over like they're projecting it to take over. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint exactly how AI can be implemented into the economy without it completely decimating the job market. So the reason why I say if we don't come up with a new plan, we enter a neo-feudal era is because the economic system, how it's set up today, being a consumer-based economy, wouldn't work if we have mass unemployment. And that includes like if we also introduce UBI and stuff, it wouldn't work. I mean, I can say I'm an advocate for UBI to a certain degree, but that money's got to come from somewhere too, first of all. And if billionaire companies are finding tax loopholes, then they're not paying it. So who's paying it? I mean, we can't just keep printing money out of thin air. We'll end up like whatever happened in, I don't know, what is it, Venezuela and all these other countries, right? So can't do that. We already saw 2020 how inflation went up because we printed so much money. So what is this neo-feudal era? It basically means that we're gonna have a economy or society, I should say, that is heavily renter-based versus owner-based, and we're already going down that route. The United States of America, it used to be more ownership than renters, and now I think it's at like 65, 35, 65, I don't know, like around that range. Like we're 65% are owners, and then the rest are renters. But the two are getting even because of how expensive everything is. People just not being, the next generation, I can already see is writing on the wall pretty much that they might not be able to even own properties unless the prices plummet, right? So if their wages aren't keeping up with the rate of inflation and the rise in costs, then they're not going to be able to afford properties the way they sit now. And they could sit around and wait for these boomers and old late Gen X to die off and just take those properties. But who's going to take those properties if the people don't pass them down to their kids? The government, right? Companies, investors. So we are going to start seeing, it's even projected supposedly that we're going to be 50-50 with renters and owners here soon, and then eventually renters will rise over owners, right? So land is owned, and what does that remind you of when we talk about the feudal part of neo-feudal? Lords and serfs, right? Lords and serfs. But it gets even crazier than that, because that's just one thing, right? The second thing is that if there's well, I'll say this one first. You had folks like Elon Musk, for example, trying to develop these work cities, right, where you lived, where you worked, pretty much. So you had housing where you worked. I think we used to have something like that back during the coal mining days, early coal mining days and whatnot. But this is something he wants to do. That again just sounds like an indentured. I don't want to say indentured servant, because you still have the right to leave right now, but you never know what the future may hold. That sounds more like a feudal system in a sense, again, to me, right? If there are no jobs, then you're at the wit of these corporations, who are now your lords, right? They are now your lords, and we are the serfs. So if they own the properties, if wealthy folks own properties, and we have to live under those properties, and we have to live under the laws because we have no more jobs, now we're lords and serfs. Another thing to consider is that we talk about the middle class. The middle class is what I consider a seemingly failed experiment, because if you think about it, yeah, sure, you and I, we grew up with the ideology of the middle class, but the middle class has only existed for 50s, 60, 70, 80, 90, 50, 60s, maybe 70 years max from its creation. In the span of human civilization, that's nothing, right? Well, this country, in the span of human civilization, is nothing, but that is something that I feel like the government and corporations tried to implement, and now they're starting to realize that it just isn't working, and they're also saying, well, we got to go back to our natural process, which was the thing they found was the feudal era, just shy of slavery, right? And if they ever bring that back, man, that's fuck. I don't even want to think about it, right? Any sort of slavery level, like economy, but yeah, we're not gonna go down that road. That's too dark. But yeah, the neo-feudal era is upon us, and we need to keep an eye out for this, because this is projected to be the case, right? It's gonna start slow, and all these things, if they happen at once, where you can't own properties, you don't have jobs, and things are super expensive, I don't see any other way around it, right? This is we're talking like doomsday level stuff here that can eventually hit. I don't know, but food for thought. Thanks, guys.